Right, hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about Blade Runner 2049. This video won't be as edited as much as it probably is in other videos that I've done in this kind of style, like in Lady Vengeance and stuff like that, when I was talking about certain scenes or certain actors or certain parts. I had like pictures of them in the background. However, for Blade Runner 2049, because it just come out, I don't actually have many pictures for it, only that has been seen in the trailer. So it won't be like a very edited video, it'll be just a fairly long video of me just talking about Blade Runner without the spoilers. I'll do a separate video for the spoilers because there is a lot of spoilers in this film. So to start off with, is it good? Yes it is, it's very good. Was it necessary? Probably not, no. In terms of sequelness, it isn't really a sequel as much as, say, you might have hoped it to be. Harrison Ford isn't really the main star. It is Ryan Gosling, and you knew that kind of from the casting and stuff like that. But it is very Ryan Gosling focused. Harrison Ford's character, he isn't in it much, and the story doesn't really revolve around him. In fact, it kind of felt a little bit shoehorned in at times. Like, Harrison Ford didn't really need to be in this film. Probably at all. They could have changed the script and they could have went a different direction. It still would have been just as interesting. But I think they had to kind of include him in it because people wouldn't watch a Blade Runner sequel if Harrison Ford wasn't in it, because Harrison Ford is Deckard after all. But Ryan Gosling did great in this movie. I'd say it's one of his best performances. I still do think that Drive is his best movie, but this one, he did very good in this film. He kind of had the same kind of character as Harrison Ford in the original Blade Runner, kind of like moody, kind of moping around a bit. He isn't. I don't feel like he's as good as Deckard. However, I think he was a fairly good character, and he does change throughout the movie. But Deckard was he's a classic character, and his relationship with Rachel and stuff. I just think that Harrison Ford is the better character out of the two, because also Ryan Gosling's character feels a bit like he doesn't really know what he's doing, what he wants, and that's kind of how it felt for Deckard as well. But Deckard was a little more interesting because he had his moral conflicts, and they tried to do that with Ryan Gosling at some parts. It didn't fail. It just wasn't as effective as it was used with Deckard. So Ryan Gosling was good in the movie. Harrison Ford was good in the film. It just, as well, like I said before, didn't feel like he needed to be in it. He could have went a different route and it still would have been just as good. But as a performance, Harrison Ford did great again, as he did in all of his films really. In terms of other characters, Ryan Gosling's girlfriend kind of thing, she was really good in this film actually, like a standout character. I think she was probably one of the best characters in this film, just because it's new. It's not a normal Blade Runner. She wasn't in the first one. Her idea of what her character isn't in the first one, and it just felt a lot better. It kind of felt how in some films the stakes are put too high, if you know what I mean. I watched the film the other day, War for the Planet of the Apes actually, and I will be doing a review on that. But just quickly in here, it felt like the stakes weren't good, if you know what I mean. Because although I was watching it and I was like, right, okay, the fighting, it's meant to be fighting for the planet. It just didn't feel like that. It didn't feel like there was any tension really in the battles. Whereas in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, sorry. The fighting at the end just felt like everything. That's because it was more personal. It was more fighting for his son and against Cobra. And it just felt like the stakes were high, and that's what happened in Blade Runner 2049 with the character of Joy, I think her name was, who's Ryan Gosling's girlfriend. Because there was parts in the film when I was more concerned about her safety than I was, say, the plot of the film. It just felt, I liked it. I did like it, because in some films when the stakes are too high, you just kind of lose it. Whereas if it's like a personal kind of story, then it feels better, and that's what happened with Blade Runner 2049. So I did like that part. As well, the special effects were great in this film. To be honest, I knew that it was going to be great because the budget's fairly big. But the effects were great. To be honest, the effects in the first film were amazing too, and it didn't disappoint again in Blade Runner 2049. And I'd say the standout thing with this movie is the cinematography. I've heard loads of people talk about it. I also have to comment on it. The cinematography in this film is some of the best cinematography ever in anything. And I love cinematography, and it definitely deserves an Oscar. Whether that be nominated or winning, because it definitely deserves some recognition. And as well as the cinematography and the music could easily be nominated too. The music was great in the first film, like the kind of like techno, I don't know, retro, I don't really know what it's called. but like the electric music that's used in Blade Runner, the first one, it was used again in this one, and it was just as good. I did really enjoy it. There's also some really quirky characters in this film, and there was some quirky characters in the original, and I like that they kept that. There was Morgan from The Walking Dead is in it as like a bit of like a fumbling, I don't know, I want to call him a loser, but he isn't really a loser. I don't know, you kind of feel sorry for him at parts, even though what he's doing is morally wrong. There was some weird cameos as well. For some reason, the Somalian pirate from Captain Phillips is in it for like 30 seconds, and he just goes on about a goat. There's a few other actors and actresses, and you just kind of like, when you're watching it, it's just kind of like a gimmick. You're like, oh right, so he's in it, and oh, but there's Morgan from The Walking Dead, there's a Somalian pirate, stuff like that. So I guess it obviously isn't something that you're like, oh, you should watch this because the Somalian pirate from Captain Phillips is in it. But it was just, I was just watching it, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Another character worth mentioning is Jared Leto's character, who basically just plays a weirdo in anything now. I do like Jared Leto in certain things. Like I did like him in Fight Club as, I think his name's Angel Face or Babyface, and he's good in certain films. I feel like he's an actor who could get on some people's nerves just because he always does play weird characters. But in this one, yeah, he was another weird character. He wasn't particularly bad. And he was fairly-ish memorable, and I guess you could say he's the bad guy in certain aspects. The thing about this film is that no one's really the bad guy, just like in the first one. Although Rutger Hauer is portrayed as the antagonist, he does have certain points that are, you know, morally right, to be honest. He is in the right in certain scenes, and that's what's good about the first two Blade Runners, is that both of them you can be like, well, the bad guy does some things wrong, but he's right in other ways, so he's not actually the bad guy, if you think about it. But Jared Leto did a pretty good job too. I did like Jared Leto in this film. Other characters worth mentioning is the guy who plays Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. He was in this film, not for very long, but for the scenes that he is in, he did very, very well for some reason. I don't even know why. I know some people don't like him as an actor for some reason. I think people don't like his actual acting himself in things like Guardians of the Galaxy. But as the guy in the start of Blade Runner 2, I thought his acting was really, really good for some reason. He just did extremely well, and the opening scene to this film was very good, just like I really enjoyed the first scene of Blade Runner as well, the first one. The thing I need to talk about the most is the runtime. It is ridiculously long. 3 hours is very long, and I love the fact that they did that. I love the fact that they make a long movie. I think if a movie is very long, then they're setting them up for some risk. If a movie's like 70 minutes long, and I have seen some, it's kind of like, I don't know, when you're watching it, it's not a waste of time, if you know what I mean. So I could watch like a 70-minute film and then just be like, right, oh, that wasn't very good. But I'd be like, well, it's only 70 minutes. Whereas if it's like a 2.5 hour movie, then it's setting itself up. If it's bad, then people are gonna hate the movie. But I just feel like it's a good thing if a movie is really long, and it's really good as well. There's a film called The Wailing, which is South Korean, I think. I know there's a Japanese guy in it who is also in Audition. I don't really know why I'm going on about The Wailing, but basically The Wailing was really, really long, 2.5 hours, and it's a horror movie as well. And going into it, you kind of like, this film better be good, because if it isn't, then it's a really long waste, and it kind of could put some people off. And that's how I feel like Blade Runner 2 is, because when you're going into it, you're like, if this is 3 hours of just trash, then it's not going to be very good. So the acting was good, the characters were good, the music was really good, the cinematography was really good as well. I like the fact that they did set it up for a big long movie, and then the script was good, but it wasn't great. That's the only problem. Some of the scenes felt a bit dragged out and a bit pointless, really, and they kind of went again for the noirish style that was in the first one, and it kind of did work, but it was very long. Some scenes were very, very drawn out. There's a scene where, I'm not going to spoil it when it takes place, but one of the characters lies down on some steps in the snow, and that scene itself went on for like 5 minutes. It felt like 5 minutes, and it just didn't need to be that long. And that happened a few times, and the actual story was very, very confusing at parts, and I think that I'll appreciate it more the next time I watch it. Because that's what happened with Blade Runner. The first time I watched it, I didn't really like it, and then after I watched it again and again, it got better and better until it's one of my favourite movies. With this one, that might be what happens. Hopefully, it will be what happens. Because when I was watching it, it just got very confusing at times, and you were like, so is Ryan Gosling a replicant? Is he not a replicant? And it's still kind of up for debate with me, to be honest. I need to read more about it, and hopefully when more people see the film, I'll be able to find out more. So yeah, basically, Blade Runner 2049 was a really good movie. It wasn't necessary, and I know a lot of people comment about that, how it isn't necessary, and again, it isn't a necessary film. It didn't need to be made, but then again, like Star Wars: The Force Awakens didn't need to be made. But that was really good. Rogue One was amazing, and that didn't need to be made. So although it's necessary, it still doesn't really bring down what was in the movie. There was just some scenes that went on for a bit too long and weren't really relevant, and some scenes were really drawn out that probably didn't need to be drawn out. And Harrison Ford didn't really need to be in the film, but other than that, it was really good. They probably could have knocked about an hour off the runtime, to be honest, and it wouldn't have lost anything. And it might make it more rewatchable in the future. But those are my only real problems. And it was a very good film, and on a rating from awful to amazing, I would say that this film is great. It just isn't really hitting the amazing mark for me at the moment. But other than that, yeah, it's a very good film, and you should definitely watch it. Just certain problems here and then, but hopefully it will get better every time I watch it. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed my review. If you did, please leave a like below and subscribe if you haven't already. Tell me what you thought about the movie. If you've seen Blade Runner 2049, did you think it was better or worse than the original? For me, I still prefer the original, but yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.